DevilNeverCry.
Are you on the fence about Final Fantasy XVI? Perhaps you've never played a Final Fantasy game before. Well, in today's video, I'll be giving you a rundown on everything that you need to know. Let's get the elephant out of the room and answer the most asked question first and foremost. This is the 16th entry in the Final Fantasy series. Do I need to play the rest of them if I want to play Final Fantasy XVI? And the answer is assuredly no. Almost all of the Final Fantasy games, bar a few sequels, are standalone titles wherein you don't have to play any of the other games in the series to truly enjoy them. All of the games in the series do share somewhat of a similar theme in the form of magic, crystals, and giant mythological creatures that wield awesome power, but the context in which they're displayed and how the events in the games play out, alongside what you can actually do in regards to all of these features, are all entirely different. Final Fantasy XVI marks a decisive shift to real-time combat. It is an action RPG first and foremost, with the combat being helmed by one of the combat directors that worked on the DevilNeverCry series, alongside a myriad of other high-profile Capcom titles. This is not your standard button masher. This is a game that focuses on player engagement. Well-timed parries, last-minute dodges, and real-time switching of skills to create your own devastating combos take a forefront in Final Fantasy XVI. With your weapons, magic, combat skills, and gear all being upgradable, there's tons of content to sink your teeth into if combat is your jam. With that said, combat isn't everything. The Final Fantasy series is known for having intricate and detailed stories, and Final Fantasy XVI is no different. This game puts you in the shoes of Clive Rosfield, a young prince who has tragedy befall him and his family. We follow him throughout multiple periods of his life, from his youth all the way into his adult years, as he sets out on a quest for revenge. Ultimately, it culminates in something far greater than just righting the wrongs of his past. With a medieval high fantasy setting that is dark, brooding, and doesn't shy away from the more mature themes, the Game of Thrones series can be considered an apt comparison, albeit one that is less magical. Understandably, there may be some of you who are only interested in the narrative of Final Fantasy XVI and perhaps find the real-time combat a little too strenuous. In that case, Final Fantasy XVI has you covered. One of the main accessibility features of this game is the Story Mode. Story Mode allows you to equip Clive with a myriad of different accessibility-focused accessories that provide different buffs, such as automatic combos, automatic dodging, and much more, allowing players of all ability levels to truly enjoy Final Fantasy XVI. An important distinction to make for Final Fantasy XVI is that unlike a lot of RPGs out there, it will not be open world. The game will feature several different dungeons and open zones for you to be able to explore, but it truly won't be open world. There'll still be points of interest to stumble upon and secrets to discover in Final Fantasy XVI, but the team felt that by limiting themselves to zones, they'd be able to pack more detail into the world of Final Fantasy XVI, as opposed to having an open world that may be large, but completely barren, devoid of things to do. Once you play through and complete Final Fantasy XVI, the wild ride doesn't stop there. Beating the game unlocks multiple things. A New Game Plus mode, allowing you to play through the story with all of the gear and skills you've acquired by the end of the game, alongside two different difficulty modes, Final Fantasy Mode and Ultimaniac, that promise to put players' skills to the test. These unlockables, alongside the Chronolith Trials and much more, will ensure that Final Fantasy XVI keeps you engaged even after you think you've seen everything there is to see. Accompanying Clive, our protagonist, throughout the majority of his adventures in Final Fantasy XVI is his trusted canine companion Torgal. Torgal will be there to aid Clive in combat in multiple different ways, such as healing Clive or comboing enemies alongside him. But more importantly, whenever you're outside of combat, yes, you can pet the dog in Final Fantasy XVI. Petting pups aside, Final Fantasy XVI is filled with multiple extracurricular things to do aside from the main quest. You'll be able to tackle a variety of side quests throughout Final Fantasy XVI, some of which you may stumble upon in the open world, and some of which you may find in the Hideaway, which acts as the main hub for Final Fantasy XVI, where you'll find a multitude of vendors and blacksmiths to aid you along your journey. You'll also be able to hunt down specific enemies for great rewards. You can either stumble upon these specific enemies out in the open field, or you can accept the requests from specific hunt job boards. One feature of Final Fantasy XVI that is important to note is its world, VALISTHEA. As you go through multiple different periods of Clive's life throughout Final Fantasy XVI, the world around him will change as well to reflect the passing of time. One specific area that you might have visited at the start of the game could be entirely different by the end of it, serving as an incentive to come back and visit old haunts every once in a while, as who knows what might have changed. And last but certainly not least, one of the more important things that perhaps you need to know about Final Fantasy XVI is that there is a demo. This demo is coming out soon. It will be available to the public before release. Perhaps by the time you're watching this video, this demo will already be out there, and if you are on the fence, I highly implore you to go out there and get stuck in with this demo. Not only will this demo give you a tangible taste of what Final Fantasy XVI is, but I believe your save data will actually be transferred over to the full game should you decide to pick it up upon release. In the meantime, if you're looking for a more in-depth, lengthy, detailed look at Final Fantasy XVI, I have 2 preview videos up where I discuss 2 extensive hands-on sessions that I got with Final Fantasy XVI. In these videos, I talk at length about things like the control scheme, the skill breakdowns, how combat works, things like jump cancelling, and much, much more. I'll leave a link to these 2 videos in the description below. And with that, there was just a few other things that I wanted to mention. The first of which is a big thank you for all of the support regarding my Final Fantasy XVI content. It's going nowhere, in fact there's more to come. I'll be putting out a spoiler-free review whenever I'm able to, alongside multiple guides, and I'll be streaming the game as well. So definitely make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss out on everything that's to come. With all that said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.